simple strategy. I'm mentally resilient to finish your year strong. And just going to start off telling you a little bit about my background, and then we'll get started because I have a lot of material to cover, and I think you're really going to like it. So just a little bit about me. Like I said, I'm a certified life coach through the Life Coach School. I've also been a licensed realtor in Maryland since 1994, so 27 years. So I understand what you go through on a daily basis. I've been through pretty much every situation you can imagine, and there's always new things that come up because that's real estate. It's just everyone's different, and so everyone's experience is different. I also just recently got my broker's license in North Carolina. And in June, so I'm looking to affiliate. I'm going to be with a company here, and I'll be making my decision in a couple of weeks. So I'm super excited about that. So more to come. And I also have been doing personal development since 1985. I was always interested in personal growth and development, so I've been doing that for a long time. And in my real estate career, since 2006, I participated in about 6 coaching programs. So I know a lot about real estate coaching, and I loved real estate coaching. I learned a lot. I learned scripts. I learned how to prospect and to follow up with leads and to take listings. And it was all very helpful. But for me, there was just a missing link, and I could never really figure out what it was. But it was something with my mindset, and it was almost like a diet for me. Like I would do really well in business for a while, and then something would happen outside of myself, and then I would get into like this kind of mental slump. And then I would have to go to a convention or a conference and get sort of excited again and get my mind sort of back in shape. And I used to call it like realtor rehab, because it was like I had to get my mind out of the garbage can, basically. Like I go to these conferences, I get so pumped up, I come home, I do great. And then a month later, I was like feeling just, discouraged and disappointed, and everything came back. So I knew there was something. I didn't want to have to, even though I loved going to the conferences and loved meeting the people, I knew that there was a way that there had to be a way where I would never have to get into a mental slump again. And while this was kind of going on, I always had this passion. Like I said, I love personal development, and I always wanted to help people. So I was thinking about becoming a therapist, because I had always helped people like with weight loss, relationships, all kinds of different things over the years. But someone suggested I become a life coach. So I started doing my life coach training. And I was looking for something to really help my clients. And I did a couple programs that I thought were pretty good, but I still hadn't found what I was looking for in terms of what to do to help my clients. And when I did my training at the Life Coach School, I found the tools that I knew would work for my clients, and they really changed my life. And what was so interesting is the tools that I learned in my life coach training were the missing link in all the other things that I had done in my real estate career. So I started applying them to my real estate business, and things really started falling together. And like I said, I never really have been in a slump since with my mind. And I have been coaching other realtors and teaching them these tools, and they've been very effective. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. And I feel like these tools are the keys to the universe. So I'm so excited to share them with you today, because they've really changed my life. So are you ready to get started?
Yeah.
Okay. And also, one other thing, I just moved here from Maryland, Baltimore, and I'm new to the area. Nick Mackenzie sold me my little house, my husband and I, my house. And but I'm familiar with the area. My husband and I actually got married here in 2008, because my family, my brother, my parents live here as well. They've been living here over 20 years. So I've been coming here for 20 years. So I love the area, and I'm super excited to be here. Okay, so step 1 is drop your manuals for your buyers, your sellers, and other agents. And I'm going to talk to you about what a manual is, why we have manuals, what are some examples of manuals, how to let go of manuals, and why this is so important in your business. What is a manual? So a manual is an instruction guide that we have. It's unwritten, but it's in our minds about how other people should behave. And we think that other people should do certain things and behave in a certain way. So we have like this list of instructions, and we can have it for our buyers and sellers and other agents. And whether you know it or not, we all subconsciously have these manuals in our minds for other people. And why do we have manuals? Because we have manuals because we believe that if people would do what we want them to do and act like we want them to behave, that we would feel better. And culturally, we've been taught that other people are responsible for our feelings. So when we're young and somebody says something to you at school and you come home and you say, so-and-so hurt my feelings, and you blame that other person's actions hurt your feelings. Well, as adults, we have to take responsibility for our own feelings. So other people don't cause our feelings. But we're culturally taught that from a young age. So we carry that into adulthood. So some examples of my manuals or our manuals, because I coach a lot of real estate agents, are buyers should write strong offers. Buyers should make quick decisions. Buyers shouldn't be so picky. Sellers shouldn't overprice their homes. Sellers shouldn't want out of the contract 2 weeks after the house has been listed. Sellers should listen to me. Other agents should know how to write a contract. Other agents should call me back and leave feedback. Those were some of my manuals when I was selling and working with buyers. And I want to know, just to make sure that you're getting it, like, what are some of your manuals that you have in your mind that you have for your buyers and sellers?
Or in general.
In general.
Anything can be fixed, right? Not always. Like when we're looking at inspection reports, we're desensitized to it. So, oh yeah, this isn't a big deal, but this is their home, so of course that's them. It might be.
Mm-hmm. But what is your manual for the seller, like for the seller or the home inspection, the buyer? Like, what's your manual? The seller shouldn't get upset, or the seller shouldn't worry.
Shouldn't be so worried about.
Okay.
Findings,
Yeah. So the buyer shouldn't be so worried. Yeah. So that's one of our manuals that we have. And the problem with it is that when a buyer gets worried and we think they shouldn't be worried, we kind of give our power away because we're reacting. Does that make sense? So the seller shouldn't be, the buyer shouldn't be worried, or they shouldn't be wanting to back out of the contract because, we're kind of giving our power away to the buyer instead of the buyer's response is totally neutral. And we don't have to think, it's their response and it's coming from their own thoughts. So anybody else have an example of one of their manuals?
I do. It's general. Other people should be more resourceful.
Yeah. Other people should be more resourceful. Yeah. Any others?
People should be honest.
Yeah. People should be honest. People should be kind. Yeah. And we think these are all reasonable, but not everybody is going to follow it. And so we just end up getting frustrated because we put too much power over, we're attaching our emotions to someone else's behavior. So how do we let go of our manuals? Well, the first step is just awareness that you have them and seeing how it really causes you frustration in your business, and how that you can't really change other people, and wanting people to be different than they are is just going to leave you frustrated. Don't attach your emotions to other people's behavior, like I said before, because if you do, you're going to lose your power. If you're constantly reacting to everything that's going on around you, you're going to lose your power, and you're going to end up feeling very emotional and very frustrated a lot. Just release all the rules for your buyers and sellers and other agents. Let them be human. Let them be who they are. Everybody has their own story. Everybody's coming from their own place. So when we're working with with buyers and they do have this home inspection, it can be overwhelming. And I remember, well, I bought my house here, you know, and it's different here. You have this due diligence and we don't have that in Maryland. And then we had just really no negotiation with the seller. And there were just so many things. And I was a little scared because I've never lived here. So I didn't really know about the crawl space issue. And it was a little scary. I went through with it, but there were definitely some doubts in my mind. So it's letting people be where they are and holding space for that. And focus on the manual for yourself. Focus on what you can control, which is having your own process and your own standards for yourself, and focus on yourself instead of other people and what they're doing wrong or what you wish they would be doing differently. And you can do this. This is a really good trick. If somebody's not doing what you want them to do, let's say they were following your manual 100%, they were doing everything you wanted them to do, how would you be thinking? You'd probably be thinking, this buyer's so easy, they're so nice, they're totally reasonable. And you can decide to think that whether or not they're doing that or not. You can decide that I'm just going to decide that this buyer is totally reasonable and that they're easy to work with. You can change your thoughts. You decide what you think about. You can't control other people, but you do decide how you think and how you show up. And it's all about really unconditional love for everyone. Just really, like I said, holding space for people, letting people be where they are, letting them have their own reactions, but being the calming force and just being there with encouragement and love and support always. And how does this help your business? Well, it's just going to help you just have better relationships with your buyers, your sellers, your other real estate agents. It's going to, if you apply these tools, they're going to help you have better relationships with your kids and with your spouse, because we all subconsciously have these manuals for our kids and our spouses. So it's going to help you in all your relationships. And when you have that love and compassion, it's going to open you up for more buyers, because they're just going to be attracted to you. You'll get more referrals. You're going to have more energy too. And you're going to have more time to focus on income generating activities, because you're not going to be so concerned with how frustrated you are that your seller won't reduce their price. And you're going to be feeling more powerful to create what you do have control of over the results. And you'll, like I said, you'll be doing income producing activities. Okay, so that was step one, drop your manuals. And I help my clients with this a lot, just really see their manuals in their life, because sometimes we can't see our own manual. So my clients share with me different experiences, and I point them, whether it's a manual issue, and I show them their minds so that they can really see how they're not what's keeping them stuck. So step number 2 is to learn to separate circumstances from facts. And I'm going to give you a definition of circumstances and definition of circumstances and definition of thoughts. So circumstances are facts, something that has happened or a result that's happened. It's already done. We don't have any control over circumstances because they've already happened. Circumstances are always neutral. So some examples of circumstances are 23 Main Street appraised $20,000 less than the offer price of $475. That's a circumstance, a fact in your business. Joe Buyer submitted 10 contracts and 0 contracts were accepted. Fact. Client Jody decided to buy a for sale by owner and didn't use you as an agent. Fact. Your production for 2021, 40 homes sold, 5 homes sold, 100 homes sold. Your production is a fact, where you are today in your production. Seller Jim said, I'm not going to reduce the price and give my house away. That's a fact. Jim said that on the phone. Agent Rosie's offer didn't include the pre-approval letter or the lead-based paint disclosure. That's a fact. Now, those are all circumstances. Those are all facts, and they're all neutral because you don't have any control over those. Now, thoughts are not facts. Thoughts are just sentences in your brain, and our brain offers us a lot of thoughts. And we get about 80,000 thoughts a day, and 65,000 of them are negative, and 20% of them are repetitive. So your brain is going to offer you a lot of thoughts during the day. So you have to really be intentional about what you think about. Thoughts practiced over and over again become your belief systems. So when we practice these thoughts, they become neural pathways in our brain, and we just believe them. We just believe them to be facts about ourselves. Thoughts create our results. So what you think about, and I'm sure you all have heard this before, that thoughts create your results. So what you think about is what you're going to bring about in your life. And we don't always see the thoughts that are keeping us from moving forward because they're so subconscious, and we just like believe them to be facts about us. So I really help my clients like see those thoughts, I help them get into that part of their brain that has those thoughts, those sneaky thoughts that get in there that are keeping them from getting the results they want, no matter what that result is that they want. So some examples of thoughts are, I'm tired of writing offers for buyers. The home is overpriced. The seller is being difficult. I'm not as successful as others. I'll feel better once this transaction's over. I hate prospecting. I don't like rejection. Yes, I don't like rejection is a thought. It's just a sentence in your brain that your brain offers you. I hate prospecting. It's just a thought. Some people feel like that's just me. I just don't like rejection. I don't like prospecting, but it's just a thought. And thoughts can be changed. You can learn to like anything. I used to think that I hated fruits and vegetables, and I only wanted to eat sugar. And I've learned to love fruits and vegetables, and I've maintained my weight for many years. So you can learn to like anything. It's just a matter of being intentional and getting a new neural pathway in your brain with a new thought that you believe. Why is this important in your business? Well, separating facts from thoughts is going to help you build that mental muscle so that when something happens outside of yourself, you're not going to react right away. You're going to be able to say, this is just neutral. This is neutral. This house didn't appraise, totally neutral. How do I want to show up? This buyer's written 10 offers, 0 contracts accepted, totally neutral. Totally neutral. How do I want to think about it? Anything that happens to you, you just pause. And I have this little trick that's called so what, that anytime something happens, circumstance, fact, I say to myself, so what? Because that helps me block that trigger that goes into my thinking, which creates my emotions, which is I'm going to go into a little bit later. So it's like, so what? Yeah. So how is this going to help you in your business? You don't have any control over your circumstances, but you do have control over how you think about it and how you show up. So you're just going to be able to have better, you're going to have better thoughts. You're going to have more energy because it's those thoughts that drain our energy. It's not the circumstances that drain our energy, it's the thoughts. So you're going to have more energy to focus on what you can control in your business, and circumstances aren't going to bother you as much because you're going to know that they're all neutral. And you'll feel more like Teflon when things happen. You're going to feel emotionally and mentally strong when something happens. And it's not going to bother you as much. Step number 3 is understand the circumstances don't cause your feelings. Your thoughts cause your feelings. Circumstances do not cause our feelings. Our thoughts cause our feelings. Circumstances are neutral, like I said, until we have a thought about them. So we want to pause when we have a circumstance so that we don't and just get in touch with what we're thinking. Circumstances do trigger thoughts. So that's the reason that a lot of people react, because circumstances happen, it triggers a thought, and we react emotionally. We don't have to make circumstances mean anything bad. So a lot of us make things mean something bad, and that makes us feel bad. So some examples are, and this is CTF. I just did CTF, circumstances. C, T is thoughts, and F is feeling on my little sheet. So let's say you sold 2 houses. in 2020. And you think, I must not be a good realtor. And you feel discouraged. So you feel discouraged. Jody bought a for sale by owner and didn't use me as her agent. That's the circumstance, totally neutral. She used me and wasted my time, and you feel angry because you're thinking she used me and wasted my time. And you think that's a fact, but really Jody buying it for sale by owner and not using you is totally neutral. And other people might not think that she used you and wasted your time. So circumstances have to be 100%. Everybody has to agree on it. Else they're not considered a circumstance, they're considered a thought. Sellers list home at 550. And the thought is they overpriced the home and it's not going to sell and you feel frustrated. Overpricing, the seller overpriced a home is just a thought. And you feel frustrated because of the thought, not because of where the sellers priced the home. Then the sales price where they listed the home is totally neutral. It's just a number, 550. The circumstance, 20 contacts on Monday and no appointments. That's a fact. Your thought is prospecting doesn't work and you feel defeated. So then there's some intentional thought models. And sometimes you want to make sure you believe these thoughts. It has to be something that you can believe. So 2 houses sold for 2020 and you think you can believe, well, I know how to create sales. You did 2 of them. You know how to create sales. So you feel a little bit more motivated. You could also think that Jody bought a FSBO and didn't use me as her agent. There's probably a better opportunity waiting for me. You know, I got married for the first time when I was 45. So I did a lot of dating and I had a lot of rejection and disappointment, and I was engaged. When I was 40, I got engaged and I had to cancel my wedding 2 months before I walked down the aisle. I think I was 41. This is back in 2004. It was a really difficult time in my life, but I just believed that there was a guy out there that wanted to marry me. And that all the relationships that led up to where I was at the time when I made that decision to cancel that wedding, I just believed that there was something better for me, that there was a better opportunity. And I was not going to go through with something that I didn't feel totally 100% confident. And about 1.5 years later, I met my husband and we've been married for 13 years. And I literally pinch myself every day because I am so happy and I'm so glad it didn't work out with any of those people. So when you have something in your business, some kind of rejection or disappointment, it's just, you can think about it, that it's just leading you to something bigger. And there's so many other opportunities out there. But when we're stuck in that, this is the only opportunity and I lost this money here, you miss out on the opportunities that are in front of you. So the sellers list their home at 550,000, which is totally neutral. You could think every seller has their own process and it's all going to work out. And you feel confident because every sellers do, you know, they do have their own process. You know, I think we have this manual for how a real estate transaction is supposed to look. We're supposed to take a listing at a good price, put it on the market, get 25 offers, $30,000 over asking price, no contingencies, and settle in 20 days. And it's just real estate. I mean, you might have more of those here, but real estate transactions that have a life of their own. And if you have a manual for how it should look, you're going to constantly be frustrated. I've had so many interesting things happen. You know, it doesn't matter how long you've been in the business. I mean, there's things that come up that have never happened to me before. I had this buyer last spring. I sold him a house and he was on the porch. The back deck was in Hamden in Baltimore City. He was on the back deck and he smelled chicken. And he's like, what's that chicken smell coming from? And I wasn't with him. I had someone else doing the home inspection. And they said, well, there's a Royal Farm store around the corner. And he's like, I can't live with that chicken smell. And he literally backed out of a contract because of the chicken smell. And I was a little surprised, but I was like, this is totally neutral. There's a better house for him. But I mean, it's just like the things that come up, you just can't even, it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. So never be surprised. So circumstance, 20 contacts on Monday and no appointments. You could just make that mean that something is going to happen very soon, because we all know it's a numbers game. And you could get excited about your next day of prospecting. Why is this important in your business? Because you will have more energy to create listings and sales when you aren't feeling bad about yourself. Because when we feel defeated and discouraged and frustrated, we kind of get in our own way, and we keep ourselves from really, being open to what the universe has in store for us, all the good things out there for us. Everything, this is all a part of the process. It's all a part of the process. Everything that happens to you on a daily basis is a part of the process. Nothing has gone wrong. So it's just part of the process. So it's, like I said, every transaction has a life of its own, and these are just circumstances that you don't have any control over, but you, like I said, can decide how you want to think about everything. And you'll stop feeling sorry for yourself, and you'll just focus more on income generating activities, because I don't know about you, but I've had some self-pity parties in my day. So step number 4 is stop beating yourself up for the past and wishing it were different. The past already happened. The past is neutral. The past is a circumstance. Like I said, what you did yesterday, what you wrote on social media yesterday, how many contacts you made, how many, houses, how many houses you showed a buyer, all neutral. It's over. You can't change it. You don't need to change it. Change the way you think about it. When we argue with reality, it causes us emotional pain. And that's Byron Katie. She talks about that a lot. When we try to wish things were different in the past, and wish we would have done something different, and wish we would have done this or that, we're just causing ourselves unnecessary pain, because there's no way to change it. There's no way to change it. So I encourage people to rewrite their real estate story, and I have rewritten my real estate story to be something that I feel really good about, and to see all the good things that happened. And nothing in your past is really affecting you today. It's just your thoughts about it. So this goes for anything that ever happened to you in your past. Like, we carry our thoughts from it today, and that's what creates our pain. Not what happened in the past. That's done. It's just our thoughts about it that we keep recreating it. So examples are, I lost all that money. There was this one coaching program I did, and like I said, I love all the coaching programs that I did, but this one trainer put like everything on the board what you lost, because you didn't call your past clients, and you didn't call your sphere, and you didn't call your FISBOs and expireds. And I think I lost like $350,000, when I added it all up. And I was like, the first time I saw it, this is like 14, 15 years ago, I felt like terrible. I made it mean that was like totally neutral what they were doing. But my thought about it was like, oh my gosh, I've totally screwed up my whole career. I've lost all this money. Oh my God, I'd be so rich by now if I would have only done that. And I was just beating on myself. And I was crying. And I was like, I was just making it mean like so much that was so unnecessary, causing myself all that suffering, and telling myself I lost all that money. Well, the money was never mine. The reality of it was never mine.
Mhm.
I never got the money, but I was like wishing that it was different, that I would have done that different. And it was keeping me from really creating what I wanted in the present. And it did motivate me to call more people, but I always had that loss hanging over my head. Like, I've lost all this money. So every time I was making my prospecting calls, I was kind of dragging my past with me and all the money I lost. So I couldn't be as effective, and I was feeling depressed about it. So it was, but I didn't lose any money. I wasn't supposed to have that money. It wasn't my money. So I could start feeling better about my past. I wish I would have handled that transaction differently. You handled the transaction exactly like you were supposed to handle it. And everything happened exactly like it was supposed to, because that's what happened. You did it. And what can you learn from it? What can you do differently next time? But beating yourself up is a complete waste of time. And it's not about you did anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. That's exactly how you were supposed to do it. And if you can use it as a learning opportunity and move on, you don't have to keep beating yourself up about it. If I would have called more of my past clients, I would have so much more money. That goes back to that.
It was never your money.
It was never my money, never my money. I have all the money that I need today. And I should have followed up on that lead. Have you ever seen a house listed and you have the same lead as another agent and you're like, oh my God, I should have followed up on that lead, and you just kind of beat yourself up. That lead, that I was never supposed to get that listing. Never supposed to get it. I priced the home too high. That's another one, because I have been guilty of letting sellers sell me on their price and pricing homes like way overpriced. But that's just a thought. And the fact is that I priced it at X dollars, and it's okay. It's totally neutral. And how do I want to think about it? I can think that this is the process that we need to go through on this transaction. And I'm going to have to do a price reduction and not beat myself up about it. I had a house recently that I listed, and the sellers wanted to, it was a very unique house and it was really special, but it was hard to find the comps for. And I had a price in my mind, but I was having a little bit of self-doubt. So I asked somebody else what they thought, and they gave me a higher price. And so I thought, well, I'm going to go back and change my price. So I didn't trust myself. And for whatever reason, I made the decision to tell the sellers that we should ask for more money. And it ended up being a lot overpriced. But it ended up working out perfectly. The house took a little longer to sell, but the seller was so happy in the end. And they said, Kathy, we are so grateful that the house didn't sell right away, because we would have never been able to move out in time. We just had so much work to do, and we really needed the summer to, get ready. And they were so happy. We ended up having to reduce it $100,000, but it was the price that I originally told them. It was the price that I originally told them, but I didn't, like I said, I didn't trust myself, but I got it down because I was honest with them and just said, hey, we got the wrong price here. It's totally neutral. A lot of agents, they get scared. They're afraid to tell the sellers the truth. But it's just neutral. You didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. I just priced the house at $650 and it was worth $550, and it's totally neutral. I could have said, oh, I'm a terrible agent, I don't know how to price homes. I could have gone into that whole drama, but I didn't. I knew the reason what happened. I just was having a little self-doubt, and I just made a decision, and not a problem. But my sellers were so happy. It ended up selling to a high school friend of theirs and daughter, a high school friend's daughter, and they were just so happy. And they wrote me a wonderful review, and they're just like, thank you for being so honest and taking us through the process and encouraging us and staying by our side. So this is going to help you in your business, because you're going to show up more confident with your sellers and lighter and have more energy for your business. You're going to be more focused and excited about your future, and you're going to feel acceptance and peace about your past. So no need to beat yourself up anymore. I give you permission to stop that. Step 5 is enjoy the journey, because it's not better over there. I always used to think that if I sold a certain number of houses, if I had a certain amount of money in the bank, or if I was a certain weight, or if I was married, if I had whatever, that I would be happy. And it's kind of a lie that our culture tells us. We have everything inside of us to be happy today. We really do. And it's great to have goals. And I want you guys to sell lots of houses and make a lot of money. But I want you to enjoy the process of becoming the person that does that, because you have to step into that person. And the way to step into that person is to find somebody like Tina and ask her what she thinks every day. And you can adopt her mindset now. If you want to be like her, and you can adopt what she's thinking. So Adopt the mindset of somebody that is doing what you want to be doing. And you can start believing that today. You have control over your thoughts today. You can believe, you can become your future self. And you can believe that it's all working. You can believe that you're financially free today. You don't need a certain amount of money in the bank to believe that you're financially free. You can just decide, I'm financially free. You can decide in your mind, and you will feel so much better, because when you think that you have to get over there in order to enjoy your life, you're going to be chasing something outside of you, and you may get there, but it's going to feel very hollow. I don't know if you've ever, I know for me, I struggled with my weight a lot for many years. And I used to always think if I got to a certain weight, I would be happy. But what happened was when I got to that weight, it was kind of hollow. And then I would just gain it back. But the reason was because I didn't change my belief systems. So if you change your belief system, you will feel happy no matter what weight you are, no matter how much money you make, no matter how many houses you sell. You don't need a circumstance to create your feelings. You just need your thoughts. So some examples of future self thoughts are, it's all working, I'm financially free, making money is easy, people want to list their home with me, I know how to create money. Now, if you don't believe these thoughts, these are not affirmations so much as really finding something that you can believe. So you have to, if you don't believe the thought, like if you don't believe that you're financially free, or if you don't believe that someone wants to list their home with you today, you could believe in a possibility. It's possible that somebody out there could maybe want to list their home with me today. Yes. Or it's possible that I could have more money than I think I have, or I could have everything I need today to feel happy and satisfied. So you want to, just a few reminders, you want to remember that circumstances do not create your feelings, thoughts do. You can practice believing new thoughts today, no matter what your situation. But like I said, you have to come up with something you can believe in. I always felt like I struggled with writing. I loved math, but I never was interested in writing. And I had a coach, and she helped me so much, because I used to think, I can't write. I don't know how to write. I don't know what to say. And she would help me with this belief that I can write English words. And that's my belief. I can write English words. I believe that. I don't believe I'm a great writer, but I believe that I can write English words. And I know a few things that can help people. So those are my beliefs, that I can write English words, and I know a few things that can help people.
Yeah, girl.
Yeah, so think in possibilities until you get to the real belief. So this is like so important for your business. You want to try to neutralize your thoughts. So a lot of people think, well, nobody's going to be buying and selling their homes over the holidays. Well, that's kind of probably not your issue here, because it's so busy. But you want to neutralize it with there are 2 months left in the year. So there's November and December. That's neutral. Nobody wants to list their house because the holidays is kind of negative. So you're going to sort of push business away. So you want to kind of neutralize the thought. It's November and December. That's a fact, right? So I do this with people with weight loss a lot, because they hate their bodies and they think they're fat. And I help them I have a body. I have arms. I have legs. So you want to try to neutralize your thoughts, because your negative thoughts are causing you so much pain. And I just want to, like I said, I help my clients find those poisonous thoughts that keep them from getting what they want. Yeah. So does anyone have any questions about the manual, about circumstances and thoughts, about the CTF part of my model?
I have a question.
Sure.
So what's your process in helping people find the poisonous thoughts?
Well, basically just talking, having conversations, finding out what is keeping them stuck, like asking them questions. Everybody's unique, like finding out what your struggles are and why, so that I can find out what you're thinking in your mind.
And do you find that like giving people that guide, they can kind of start figuring out other poisonous thoughts that they have on their own? So after they come to you a few times, they can kind of start like diagnosing that, or?
Yeah, you
Cool.
can always, you start to become more aware, but it's as you still have those thoughts, like you need somebody to point them out to you because we don't always see them. So it's so helpful. Like I've been getting coached for years because I can't see my own mind. And I want to see it because then once I see it, I'm like, wow, I can become a different person. I can create a different result. Whatever it is you want, you can create any result you want. So whatever your goal is, you may, and you're not reaching your goal, you're probably having some beliefs or some thoughts that are keeping you from reaching that goal. Any other questions? Oh,
So how do you find yourself when you are, when you are in those thoughts?
well, I think it's the thoughts aren't going to go away. Like I said, you're going to get 80,000. Your brain is going to offer you a lot of thoughts. Your primitive brain is going to. It's just you're human. You have a human brain. The thoughts aren't the problem. Like I said, they're just sentences in your brain. It's just that you don't want to make out with them. You want to say, okay, this is just a sentence in my brain, and I don't have to. Make out with this thought, spend a lot of time thinking about it, indulging in it. I recently went to my 40th class reunion in Ohio, and my mom was going to come with me to Dayton because that's where I grew up, and she wanted to, see some friends and everything. And she called me in the morning. She said, I don't feel good. I have a sore throat. I'm going to stay home. And so I made the decision that I was going to go. And my brain was telling me, oh, you might have COVID. And then I was going to see my cousins, and I had my college roommate and my friends from high school, and I was going to be staying with my friend from high school. My brain was saying, oh, you're going to get COVID, and you're going to give it to your cousins, and they're probably going to die. And you're going to give it to your friends, and they're going to, get sick. And then you're going to have to put a post out on social media that you had COVID, you gave it to everybody at the reunion. My brain was like, and I was just sitting there like watching my brain say all these things. I'm like, okay, wow, interesting. And I'm like, right now I feel fine. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to enjoy my time here. But my brain was offering me so much. Then I found out when I got back, it was so funny because I found out when I got back that my decorator, who I brought in the Thursday before I left for my reunion, I called her to ask her about some decorating things, and she's like, oh, I just got tested and I'm positive for COVID. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have COVID. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to speak. My brain was like, you're not going to be able to speak to the mastermind, and you're going to have to quarantine for 2 weeks. My brain was like going off about it again. And I was like, no, I'm going to get tested, and then I'm going to decide how I want to show up. So I tested negative, and I'm fine. But our brains, the thoughts are going to be there.
Yeah.
They're not going to go away. But so having that awareness that they're there and it's okay, but I'm going to choose to go in this direction.
I have lots of crazy thoughts.
I
am working on it.
That's right. Well, I come from this like very negative family, right? So growing up, you have all this negativity. And I was talking to somebody about this. My mom used to always say, I hate my legs, I hate my legs, I hate my legs. My mom is a toothpick, like literally, we have the same body. So as a kid, I hated my legs because my mom hates her legs. So they look the same. So of course I would hate them. She hates hers. And it was so weird, like as I got involved with coaching and, bigger thinking people, and you're surrounding yourself with how to replace those thoughts. It was sort of like, you feel like a crazy person at first, like you have a negative thought and you go, no, I love my legs. Like I love them. They work. Yes, they have cellulite, but they work and they're there and they're mine. And it's like saying exactly what you're saying. I love your format because it actually makes more sense to people. You almost have to replace them every time you have that negative thought. Replace it with a positive, and then it just becomes second nature. And you're absolutely right. Your happiness is controlled by you. And I think that the problem problem with all of us is that we have this, and we live in this environment where you have to survive, and you have to feed your family, and you have to have money to survive in this world, physical world that we created, and you can't connect with your soul, but your soul just wants to love and have fun and have friendships. But then we're all stuck in this craziness where we're watching everybody else have these beautiful lives, and then we are pained because we come from lack a lot. We compare, what do they have that I don't? And then that pain starts developing because we're comparing. But it's a challenge every day to just stay, really strong in that crazy monkey brain that we have.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
how do
no.
people do that? Is there like a routine that you recommend for them?
Well, I think it's really dumping out your thoughts on paper, like in the morning, writing everything down that's going on in your brain, kind of like dumping out your backpack or your briefcase or whatever.
Taking out the trash.
Taking out, yeah, just putting it all out on paper and looking at what you're thinking in your mind. It's kind of like developing like a self-coaching practice is what, I do is I look at what is going on in my brain. Like I said, with the whole COVID thing, like what, I wasn't, reacting to it too much because I was like, these are just thoughts that my brain is offering me. Today I feel fine.
Mhm.
So it's just about writing them down and just looking at them and seeing what they're creating for you. And a lot of them create you feeling bad about yourself.
I try to do mind courage every night before I go to sleep. Otherwise, I won't be able to go to sleep. So I just keep thinking about everything,
Mhm.
and my mind doesn't shut down.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So it's really, it's a mental muscle that you build up. It's just like you go out to the gym and you're strengthening your arms, your legs. This is a mental muscle. And the tools that I gave you today, if you practice them, if you learn to separate your circumstances from your thoughts and you understand that this is just a thought, this is a circumstance, this is totally neutral, then you can make changes a lot easier because like I said, with my real estate coaching and it was like kind of like a diet where I was like forcing myself to prospect, it was like miserable. It's kind of like being you're on a diet and you're like miserable because you have to like eat this certain food, and you feel so deprived. That's how it was. Like I was just, I was doing the actions, but my mind wasn't there. I wasn't enjoying it. And once I started enjoying it and really just enjoying talking to people and leaving the messages, it just became so much easier. And like I said, when I stopped, it just, because once you believe that it's actually could be fun, and you believe that, it just makes everything so much lighter because you're not resisting. We spend so much time resisting, and that's what's causing us so much pain. That adds a whole nother layer onto everything. Yeah. So, but just, practicing the tools and just, and getting to know yourself. Just getting to know yourself. And like I said, nothing's gone wrong. We have a lot of crazy thoughts. We have a lot of thoughts that go through our brains. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. You're not broken, nothing like that. It's just, you have a human brain and it's really about understanding your brain and taking charge of it and being intentional. Yeah. So,
I think we have a question over here.
I was just gonna say, when you were saying that, I was just thinking about, I don't know if anybody saw The Help, that movie, but the mantra where I am smart, I am kind, I am beautiful, and she would say to the little girl.
Yeah. Eventually they become, like I said, they become your new normal, but it's like you're on an island and you're going in the water to the other island where where it's easy. Right. It's like things are easy. Like money becomes like so easy, or you don't have to struggle with food anymore. It just becomes totally easy, or whatever you're trying to change in your life. Relationships are easy, whatever that is. But getting from one island to the next, there's like the water that you have to go through. And a lot of people get in the water and they start swimming and they get discouraged and they go back to the island and they start getting back into their old patterns and they say, oh, it doesn't work. But you have to keep going until you get to the island where it is, because eventually it becomes easy. It totally becomes easy. Like for me, like I said, for my weight loss, I struggled with food for years in so many different ways, but I don't struggle anymore. I haven't had to worry about my weight in over 20 years. I've been the same exact size. And I have total freedom, but I was in that water for a while trying to figure it all out and change my belief systems around food and my relationship with food. in the same way with my relationships with men, because like I said, I didn't get married till I was 45. So, I was on this place where I didn't, have successful relationships or relationships that led to marriage. But I went in that water and it did a lot of exploring about my belief systems. And then I got to the island where, oh my gosh, I have a great relationship. It's totally easy. Yeah. I haven't had to, it's just easy. It's wonderful. So,
So good.
Yeah.
I like that visual that you're on one island and you're in the water
Going to-
and you have to go back.
so you're in the river of misery. As
Right.
my coach. But it's really not that miserable. I
Mackenzie doesn't
I know,
like
I don't really like that because really the growth is just, like I said, you have to enjoy the journey. Oh, actually enjoy the journey because it's not better over there. And one more thing I wanted to say is that life is always 50-50. Like life is just, you're going to have negative emotion. It's a part of life. So even like Taylor Swift, there's this documentary or something, she has a great, on paper, she's beautiful, young, has all this talented, but her life is 50-50. She still has negative emotion. She still has disappointment.
Right.
She still has, feelings. Like she's human. None of us are exempt from that. So you can, when you compare yourself to other people, their life is 50-50 too. They really, everybody has disappointments. You have to have the sadness, else you can't have the joy. You have to have the contrast. So everybody's life is always going to be 50-50. It's just our society has sold us that we should be happy all the time. And it's just not reality.
Right.
I think she had a question.
Okay, sure.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. This is great, actually. I really appreciate your holistic approach to self-care as an agent, as a business owner, and notice, like, I'm familiar with Byron Katie, and I can sense some undertones of Louise Hay. What are some resources that you recommend that we look into to have kind of like that daily grounding, so to speak? Because I mean, a lot of us probably should go to therapy or things like that. But or have a coach who can actually have that whole holistic approach, not just business or the other. So like, I mean, where do we?
Yeah, I mean, you can certainly email me at Kathy@kathystone.org, but I love the Life Coach School podcast. It's my favorite podcast, and Brooke Castillo teaches all these tools. So I learned the Life Coach School podcast and Brooke Castillo. Brooke Castillo. Yeah, so it's all the same tools, and I've just taken them and I've just applied them to real estate. Yeah, but it's just all about mental and emotional wellness. Like I said, nothing's wrong with you. It's just about, we go to school and they teach us math and science, and we go to real estate school and they teach us contracts, but they don't teach us how to manage our minds and our emotional lives. And it's really, like I said, that it's so important. Like emotional and mental wealth is just, it's amazing because you feel free.
Yeah.
And you feel good. And it's, you have it inside of you. You don't need anything from the outside. It's just something that you build up within yourself. And it's, like I said, it's a mental muscle with just learning and practicing and understanding, having a better relationship with yourself.
I have a personal question.
Sure.
So when you were learning how to kind of like detach from your brain and to say, oh, I see you there, right? And then you're like evaluating it. Did you see that, or did you find that you had trouble like listening to your gut at any point when you were trying to detach from your thoughts? If that makes sense.
Well, like I said, I try to separate my circumstances from my thoughts,
Right.
so that I can decide at the moment, like how I want to think, which, creates my emotion. Like intuition, I think is still important, but you don't want to make decisions from negative emotions, because most of us react, we get angry, and then we want to like cut somebody off in traffic or whatever. You want to you want to be in a place of love when you make any kind of decision, or peace. You don't want to be making decisions because out of anger or, fear or scarcity. A lot of us makes decisions out of scarcity. I can't afford that or whatever. you want to kind of understand where you are before you make those decisions. You don't want to make decisions based on, you want to come from more confident place.
And then do you think a lot of us get our manuals from our childhood?
Yeah. Oh yeah. In our culture. Yeah. 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 No, our culture has taught us that that other people cause our feelings from a very young age. And part of growing up emotionally is taking responsibility for your own emotions as an adult, no matter what. Nobody causes your emotions, no matter what somebody does.
It seems to me too that we all have pain, but you learn to live with joy and pain at the same time.
Yeah. Well, it's like you accept it, that it's a part of life. You accept that, and then life is just so much easier and enjoyable because you're not adding on that other layer that, like, I wish I didn't have this pain, where you're arguing with with reality, like Byron Katie says, because that's always going to add another layer. I wish I wasn't like this, or I wish. When you wish for something different, you're causing yourself pain.
You just took the message, you didn't actually speak
Instead of
to him.
just accepting things the way they are, and they're perfect.
So what did he say?
One thing I've found very effective that kind of goes hand in hand with your so what mentality is the fact, like, when I found myself thinking what if left and right like that, I ask myself and tell myself what factual evidence shows that, and if I can't find nothing, then I just say forget it, move on from that thought.
Yeah.
I found that effective.
And your brain will find evidence. So if you think that, your brain's going to find evidence to prove thoughts true. So if you're thinking that nobody wants to list their home with you,
So Morgan is
that
trying.
you're going to actually create that. You're going to be like, it's going to show up because your brain's going to be looking for it. It's like you program your brain, and it's going to go out there and look for all the things that show that nobody wants to list their home with you.
Obviously accelerate it, but that has to be
Quick
those
statement.
players can show up.
This is great. And for myself, I think it's inevitable that we all have
Yeah,
kind of
but
moments.
if you hear something first. let
Anxious
us know.
or thoughts, we have a loop in our head. But what I need to do sometimes is I just step out and put on music. The minute I put on music, I kind of go into this little place where I kind of create, visualize whatever I want to happen. And it totally changes my feelings. And it takes me away from that anxiety that you're having at the moment.
Today's Friday, right?
You go on Instagram and you see all these people.
We're going in the weekend,
Killing
probably
it. Look
not.
at her, she's killing it. I'm not killing it. You know what I mean? And when I put on music, it kind of just gets my head out of that space, and I can just step outside. So I think sometimes people will go and they'll take a walk or they'll go run or something to kind of relieve that anxiety because, emotionally, we get emotionally caught up, like you were saying, in our thoughts. And then it starts to kind of be like this runaway train. And so for me, I just put on music and it totally changes my vibe, the way I'm feeling about everything. And then I'll come back and attack the problem or whatever I perceive as a
That's why we
problem.
want to get everybody to the
But
table.
that just
to
kind of
think about
helps
that's
for
not
me.
the option
Yeah.
and
Kind of takes
figure
me
it
out
out.
of that.
Yeah, so you see somebody that has maybe 30,000 Instagram followers in your brain, that's a circumstance. Agent has 30,000
And
Instagram
Marvin
followers,
wants
or,
everyone to come, so that we can sit
personal
and
development
go
guru has
through it, but
30,000 Instagram
that's
followers,
not
and
serious.
that's a circumstance, that's a fact, it's totally neutral. Your brain says they're killing it.
So we can't
That makes you
control
feel
how
good.
other people respond. We
Anxious.
can only
For me,
control how
I get
Yeah.
anxious.
Yeah,
Like,
so,
I'm not working hard enough.
right, I'm not working hard enough because I don't have 30,000, but 30,000 followers is totally neutral. That is not going to make you
And
feel
that's the
like
whole
you're
reason we're
working
all
hard
sitting
enough.
down together. Marvin will be reasonable. He'll try.
Our
and be-
brain
he's
thinks
gonna listen to everything.
that the 30, if we get 30,000 followers, that's gonna mean we made it or we're working hard.
But as soon as you hear
Once you
something,
get to
and I
that
know it's not
30,000,
everybody's
your brain's
radar,
gonna say,
but
I need
well, look at
16.
that person that has 100,000 followers. You're not working hard enough.
so
And then you
just,
keep working.
just
This
have
is
the mindset that it's
people
gonna
that
work.
achievements, they think, oh, this next achievement, I have to have this.
Yeah.
But when they
I
get
hate
there,
it
like I
when
said,
we
it's just like, oh, well, you haven't done this. Because your brain is always gonna find problems. It's never gonna think that it's enough. But you have everything you need today. You don't need any
Right.
followers on Instagram. You have it all inside of you. You're
As soon as
working
I
hard
hear
enough. You
something,
just have to
absolutely,
believe that
I'll tell
about
you.
yourself. And when you believe
Right.
that, that's how you're gonna
Thanks.
show up.
Kathy, last question. How did you train your brain to like fruits and vegetables?
I first was open to the idea that I could, and that has to do with, and I would love to do more trainings like on instant gratification and how our brain responds to dopamine. Because our brain gets a reward from sugary foods, so we get that instant, but you actually get a better reward when you start eating fruits and vegetables because it's a long-term reward and your brain actually starts loving it. And I have had no desire for sweets in a very long time, except maybe some, sugar-free stuff.
Thank
But-
you very much. You have not convinced me about that.
Okay. Any other questions?
I was gonna say one thing too. I was just talking to one of our, peers, Kyle Whistle last night, and, he runs this big team in San Diego, and what you were saying too about like looking at some of these followers or achievements. I think at every level you get there, right? So you could be a brand new agent, someone selling 30 homes, you're crushing it. Here we are, our team is killing it, right, to standards in the industry. And I'm still looking at them going, yeah, but they're doing more. And could we do that? Could we get there? And then you feel like that achievement is that next dopamine. It's almost like it's almost a sickness, can we? And I don't know if it comes out of boredom or what, or just that you have to serve a purpose every day. But we were talking about it last night, and he said, yeah, it's when's enough. But then when you achieve, let's say I have all the money I need, I have all the family and love and community I need, I have a great team. When do you turn it off if you're just, you're in your 40s and you're going, so what am I supposed to do? Sit with people all day? Like, I guess, is there ever that level of like satisfaction for some high performance?
Well, you realize that the satisfaction comes from your mind and not from outside achievements. You don't need all of the outside to feel satisfied. And that's what our culture has told us, that we need all this money, we need all this success, we need all this, whatever it is, material, whatever it is, we need all this to be happy. But the only thing that can really truly make you happy is yourself. You have it inside of you. I don't know. I love Eckhart Tolle, and he talks about the beggar and how this man was like begging for money all the time. And this man walked by and said, what's inside your box? You've been begging out here for years. Have you ever looked inside your box? And the beggar was like, no. And the beggar finally opened his box and it was gold inside. So he just was looking on the outside, trying to get something from everybody else, but he had it all inside of him all along. And you all and me, we all have it inside of ourselves. There's all our satisfaction, all our security, all our love is all inside of us. Nobody, nothing, no amount of money can provide security for us. The only thing that can provide security is our belief about us. I'm totally secure today. I have everything I need. No amount of money, because it will never be enough. Because there's always going to be somebody doing more. But you, like I said, you can decide that today that you're killing it in your own little way, and your brain will look for ways that you are actually killing it. And that's what I tell myself. I just believe that I'm killing it. I'm making a difference. Just because I decide. And it makes me feel good. You can't feel what other people think. The only things that you can feel is what your own thoughts are. So you can decide to think whatever you want. But like I said, you have to believe it. There's a possibility that I'm killing it in a few ways in my life. And maybe come up with those ways, because I'm sure there are. Yeah.
Because there might be somebody sitting at a job right now in a cubicle that hates their life, looking at you going, she at least gets to practice real estate. Wow, she's living her dream.
Yeah.
She's killing it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But it's like the only thoughts that matter are your own. And you can decide, but you have to believe them. Like I said, you have, like, just like me, you have to start basic sometimes. I can write English words. I know a few things. I know a few things that can help people.
Speak
So.
great English words too.
I can talk. As I was telling myself this morning, I was like nervous. I can talk.
That was wonderful.
This was
Yeah,
so
very
good,
helpful.
so timely.
Thank you.
Yay.
So go out there and keep killing it, doing what you're doing.
Love.
Kathy, unless you want COVID.
Yeah, and email me if you like what I have to say and you're interested in setting up a consultation. Just email me, we'll have a free consult. I'll tell you what it's like to work with me, how we work together, and we can take it from there.
And everyone in the world saying how awesome you are. So they say thank you.
Oh, thank you, thank you. And thank you to all the Zoom people who watch, because
Yeah.
thank you.
They say thank you.
Loving you.
Loving you.
Yeah, I see it all popping up.
Guess who's gonna do this again?
Yeah, I'd love to come.
Kathy.
I would love to come and teach more. I have so much to teach.
Oh, girl, I already got some ideas. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll put you on the calendar.
Yeah, I have
Therapy, not-